You're watching the Olympics, expecting Aja Wilson to dominate as usual, but then out of nowhere, Caitlin Clark steps onto the court and everything changes. Wilson's face turns from confident to furious. What just happened? How did a college superstar manage to get under the skin of a WNBA champion? All right, let's dive into Caitlin Clark's performance that's got everyone talking. This rookie didn't just show up, she showed out. We're talking 30 points matching her career high in an Olympic game. And that's not just good, that's downright spectacular. But Clark isn't just about scoring. She's dishing out assists like candy, racking up 7 in this game alone. It's like she's got eyes in the back of her head, finding teammates for easy buckets when she's not draining shots herself. Now, you might be wondering, how is she outshining Aja Wilson? Well, it's not just about the numbers, it's the way Clark's controlling the game. She's got this uncanny ability to take over when it matters most. While Wilson's trying to assert her dominance, Clark's making it look effortless. There's this moment in the third quarter that really sums it up. Wilson's got the ball, looking to make a move, but Clark, she swoops in, steals it clean, and takes it coast to coast for and one layup. The crowd goes wild. You can practically feel the momentum shift. Speaking of the crowd, they're eating this up. Every time Clark touches the ball, there's this electric buzz in the arena. It's like they know something special's about to happen, and Clark doesn't disappoint. She's hitting step-back threes, threading needle passes, and making defenders look silly. But here's the real kicker. Clark's not just playing well, she's changing the game. You've got this rookie coming in and challenging the established order. Aja Wilson's been the face of women's basketball, but Clark's stealing the spotlight. It's not just about this one game either. Clark's been making waves all season. Remember that game against the Atlanta Dream? 16 points, 7 assists, and a WGU in the win column. She's not just putting up numbers, she's impacting games in a big way. This performance is forcing everyone to sit up and take notice. The hierarchy in women's basketball, it's getting shaken up. You've got veterans who've been dominating for years, and suddenly there's this new kid on the block who's not just keeping up, she's setting the pace. You can see it in the way teams are adjusting their game plans. They're not just worried about stopping the established stars anymore. And now they've got to account for Clark too. It's like adding a new queen to the chessboard. Suddenly, all the old strategies need rethinking. And let's talk about Aja Wilson for a second. She's not used to being outshone like this. You can see the frustration building with every play Clark makes. It's not just about this game, it's about what it means for the future of women's basketball. Wilson herself said it best. Teams coming for the queens better not miss. But here's the thing, Clark isn't missing. She's hitting bullseyes left and right, and it's forcing players like Wilson to reassess their approach. As Caitlin Clark's performance reaches new heights, Aja Wilson's frustration becomes impossible to ignore. The Olympic arena buzzes with tension as Wilson's body language tells a story of mounting anger. Her usual confident swagger gives way to clenched fists and gritted teeth. Every time Clark sinks another shot, Wilson's shoulders slump a little more. You can see the gears turning in Wilson's head. She's not used to being outshone like this, especially not by a rookie. As the game progresses, Wilson's attempts to assert her dominance become more desperate. She calls for the ball more often, takes riskier shots, and even starts jawing at Clark during timeouts. But it's not just about the points on the board. Wilson's frustration stems from something deeper. This is her territory, her moment to shine on the world stage, and Clark, she's stealing the spotlight without breaking a sweat. The cameras catch Wilson muttering under her breath, shaking her head in disbelief. At one point, she even seems to wave off a teammate's attempt at encouragement. It's clear that Wilson's not just playing against Clark, she's battling her own rising tide of emotions. As the final buzzer sounds, Wilson's reaction speaks volumes. She doesn't join the customary post-game handshakes, instead storming off the court with her head down, the look on her face, pure thunder. But the real fireworks come in the post-game press conference. Wilson, still visibly agitated, doesn't hold back. She acknowledges Clark's talent but can't hide her frustration. "It's not just about one game," Wilson says, her voice tight with emotion. "It's about respect. I've worked my whole life to get here, and then this rookie comes in." Wilson's comments reveal the psychological toll of being outplayed on such a big stage as she touches on the pressure of being a top athlete, the expectations that come with her status. "You can be top-notch at what you are as a black woman," Wilson states, "but yet maybe that's something that people don't want to see." Her words hint at deeper issues. the intersection of race, gender, and sports that often goes unaddressed. It's not just about losing a game, it's about feeling like you're losing ground in a world that's already stacked against you. Wilson's teammates and coaches try to downplay the situation, but their awkward responses only highlight the tension. Some offer lukewarm praise for Clark's performance, while others attempt to redirect the conversation to team goals, but the elephant in the room is impossible to ignore. The dynamic has shifted, and everyone knows it. The psychological impact on Wilson is evident. She's used to being the star, the one making headlines. Now she's facing a new reality where her position at the top isn't guaranteed. It's a wake-up call, a reminder that in elite sports, there's always someone nipping at your heels. This moment reveals the intense pressure and competitiveness at the highest level of women's basketball. It's not just about winning games or scoring points. It's about legacy, about proving your worth over and over again. Wilson's reaction shows just how high the stakes are. The clash between Aja Wilson and Caitlin Clark didn't just end when the final buzzer sounded. It set off a chain reaction that's still rippling through women's basketball. Fans, media, and players can't stop talking about what went down on that Olympic court. Social media exploded the moment Wilson stormed off. Twitter's ablaze with hot takes, memes, and heated debates. Some fans are Team Wilson all the way, defending their queen and calling Clark's performance a fluke. But it's not just fans stirring the pot. Former players and analysts are weighing in too. They're breaking down every play, every expression, trying to make sense of what this means for women's basketball. Some are praising Clark's fearlessness, while others are questioning if Wilson's reaction will tarnish her reputation. You might be wondering, what does this mean for Clark's future? Well, her performance just put her on the fast track to stardom. ILBU teams are already salivating at the thought of having her on their roster. Scouts who overlooked her before, they're kicking themselves now. And let's talk Olympics. Clark wasn't initially picked for the team, but after this showing, there's talk of adding her to the roster ASAP. It's not just about her skills, it's about the buzz she brings. The suits in charge know that Clark means more eyes on the game, more jerseys sold, more excitement all around. But here's where it gets really interesting. This clash isn't just changing things for Clark and Wilson, it's shaking up team dynamics across the board. Coaches are rethinking their strategies. Do they build around established stars like Wilson, or do they pivot to nurture rising talents like Clark? Players are feeling the heat too. The vets are looking over their shoulders, knowing there's a new generation nipping at their heels. And the younger players? They're more fired up than ever, seeing Clark as proof that they can compete with the best. This game didn't just change the players, it's changing how we talk about women's basketball. We're not just comparing players within their own generation anymore, now we're looking at the sport as a whole, seeing how each generation pushes the next to be even better. It's like watching evolution and fast forward. Wilson represented the peak of one era of women's basketball. Now Clark's showing us what the next era might look like, and that gap between them, it's smaller than anyone realized. This isn't just about one game or two players, it's about the future of women's basketball. Clark's performance is forcing everyone to raise their game, from training methods to playing styles. Everything's up for grabs. And let's not forget the fans. They're eating this up, and ticket sales are through the roof. TV ratings are skyrocketing. People who never paid attention to women's basketball before are suddenly tuning in, eager to see what all the fuss is about. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this a passing storm or the start of a new era? Some say Clark got lucky that she caught Wilson on an off day. Others are calling it a changing of the guard, the moment when the torch was passed, whether Wilson liked it or not. One thing's for sure, women's basketball will never be the same. This clash between generations, between old school and new school, it's breathing new life into the sport. It's not just about who's the best player anymore, it's about who can adapt, who can innovate, who can capture the imagination of fans around the world. And it's not stopping here. This is just the beginning. Other young players are watching Clark and thinking, if she can do it, why not me? They're hitting the gym harder, studying film longer, pushing themselves to new limits. The stage is set for more clashes, more drama, more incredible performances. Wilson versus Clark, that's just the opening act. We're about to see a whole new generation of rivalries, of storylines, of moments that'll go down in basketball history.